Greetings travellers. As you probably know, building is a huge part of No Man's Sky's gameplay, and in particular glitch building. But for a lot of people starting out, glitch building can be a bit daunting. But a lot of fun can be had even if you don't use glitch techniques, so I've decided to make some vids for people who don't want to use glitches or have trouble getting them to work. In this vid, I'll be giving a couple of tips on getting started out in building, and then we'll have a bit of fun building this barbecue. But before we build that, I'd just like to share with you a couple of tips that I've picked up over the years building in No Man's Sky. One thing to get your head around quite early when you start building in No Man's Sky is that some objects behave differently to others when we're building or attaching things to them. For example, if we attach some objects to this wall, like this, and then we delete the wall, we can see that the objects, or most of the objects that are attached to that wall, will disappear as well. And this can be very frustrating. A lot of building requires us to place objects in very specific places in free placement mode. And what I have found over the years to be the best things to use are these lockers or the boxes. These unassuming obloids have wonderful characteristics where they have very smooth, flat sides, they can be adjusted in size and height, and basically they have no issues with collision, so you can attach anything to them, and then you can quite safely remove the locker or the box later, and whatever you've attached to it will not disappear. The lockers and the boxes have definitely become my go-to pieces when I'm doing any kind of micro building in No Man's Sky, and I strongly recommend adding them to your toolbox. Okay, so let's get building. So we're going to start with building the tyres for the barbecue. We're going to mount them on the side of this box and then move the box out of the way a little bit later. I'm going to use the large tyres just because I like them. They have their grip on them. You can probably use the wagon wheel as well. We rotate it, try and get it as straight as we can. If you look straight down on it, you can probably get a pretty good idea of how straight it should be. You can also see that the bottom of the tyre is still kind of embedded in the ground, so we're going to use this box, we're going to mount it. We're going to slide it up the side of the box like this and just get it so it's touching the ground. You can also use the markings on the side of the box to get it straight on both sides, so they're lined up properly. Okay, we'll just move the box out of the way and have a look. Okay, it's not looking too bad. Okay, so our next step will be to place the barbecue. So we'll use another small box and that we can sit it on, so the barbecue will be sitting off the ground a little bit. We'll just adjust the box so it's about axle height, about in the middle of that wheel. Out there. We'll pop him in the middle. So I think I'll use a molded crate for that, just because when we flip it over we can see it has some nice lines on it that okay, that's the large one. Might just have a quick look at the regular size one. I think the lines are a bit closer together, which looks a bit more like a grill. Yeah, that's better. Might just try and get it nice and flat like that. And we'll just adjust its size so it's touching those wheels. So it's always a good idea as you're building just to have a look at the objects and rotate them and flip them, and you'll find all sorts of different textures and surfaces that you can use for different things. Okay, so that's not quite straight. I might just have to redo that again, I think. I might just adjust that. It's not quite level. It'll drive me nuts if I don't. Let me just get that a bit more horizontal, maybe. And about like that, I think. There. Okay. It's not looking too bad. I'll leave that small box underneath for the moment because I will need that later. So now we want to mount the two shelves on either end. Again, I'll be using another box for that. We want it just below the grill. Just pop another one on the other side so they're even. Maybe I'll use the simple desk. I reckon that might work. Just want to bring that box down a little bit lower. I'm no barbecue expert, but I'm pretty sure those shelves should sit just a bit lower than the grill. Still a little bit too high, I think. Of course, you can use different objects. Part of the fun, I think, with this kind of micro building is just trial and error, just finding out what fits properly. I'll just go up a little bit. So don't be afraid just to try whatever. And it's pretty good. I might just change it to black, I think. Looks good. Just move the box to the other side, so put a shelf on the other end, and they'll be at the same height because we're using the same box. Just copy that one, move it across. You can take as much time as you like to get it perfectly lined up. I'm doing this a little bit quickly. I'm usually probably a little bit more careful, but for today I think this will be good enough. Okay, so that's good. All right. Now, what's next? We need to put some legs at the other end of the Barbie so the thing doesn't fall over and we lose our sausages. Maybe I'll use the flask, I think, for the little legs at the other corners. Yeah, I might actually flip them so the thin part is at the bottom. It probably looks a bit better that way, I think. Just rotate that as well to hide the little label on the top. Alright, one of those there, and another one just there. Alright, that's good. Our stable barbecue. Now we want to put a lid on the Barbie at the back there, so I'll use a locker this time. And I think I will use a trough. Let's rotate that so it's standing upright. This probably needs to be a little bit further back, doesn't it? Yeah, okay. So I'll have to move that locker just back a little bit. Try there. Yeah, let's get rid of the locker. Okay, that works, I think. All right. Oh, notice that wheel is in the wrong spot. Whoops. Okay. But then again, that's fine. It's easy to fix with our locker. So what we'll do is we'll slide a locker under that Barbie, and then we can mount the wheel back on it at the right spot. It's not a big deal. We don't have to deconstruct everything. We can just play around. And because again, these lockers, you can put them inside things and you're not worried about it deleting everything else when you remove the locker. That's why they're so handy. So I'll just get that about level with the box and move this wheel. Okay, so we can see, yep, we need to move that locker out a bit further because it's inside the Barbie frame. So if we just put that just outside of the edge of the box there, about there, and put the wheel back. Okay, so let's move that locker out of the way. The tie's a little bit crooked still, which I could probably fix if I wanted to. But for this video, it's fine, I think. Don't forget to make regular save point saves so you can restore point save, reload later. It's just good practice. Okay, so now let's move on to the actual barbecue part. And what I'm going to do is I'll use the box to place my flaming barrels on. The flaming barrels were a reward from one of the expeditions. I can't remember which one, unfortunately. But if you don't have them, it's quite a good idea if you have a chance to get the flaming barrels. They're really handy. They're quite useful in lots of different builds. If you don't have them, you can probably still use the industrial pump, which produces smoke and steam, which are also really useful. So let's mount these flaming barrels on top of this box. I want it just below the surface so the flames still come through. Maybe I'll put 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe another couple. Five and 6. Okay, so let's move that box out of the way and we can put our barbecue top back. It can be a bit tricky. It's always good to leave a bit of a space there, or you might have to change your angle. This is where sometimes you have lots of different items. It can get a little bit tricky to put things back, but it's not too bad. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Now all we need now is something to cook. So what can we put on there? Yeah, these saucer fungus are fun. They look a bit like burgers, kind of. If we flip them, actually, they have quite an interesting underside, which change color when we change their colors. So maybe we'll use that. I'm not too sure what they're made of. It's probably best not to ask. Mystery meat. But I might try and just change the angle of them to be a little bit more flush with the grill. About there, I think that's good. And change their color to look a bit more palatable. It'd be nice if they're a bit more cooked or red. That's still not great. Okay, that looks pretty good. Rare. Okay, so let's mount these on our Barbie. Get them cooking. It's a good idea just to change the angle too, like rotate them like this, just to give them a bit of variety, a bit of randomness. It's pretty subtle, but it does help to add a bit of realism. What else can we add? What about pustules? Delicious. Put a couple of them on there too, I think. I often use the Leviathan spawn. They're quite fun too. They're a bit trickier to mount because of their holographic projector at the bottom, but they're quite fun to put on barbecues. But for today, I think this will be good. All right. The front looks a bit plain. Would be good to try and put some controls or something on the front there. I think I might use these tube lights. They have these nice rods that stick out of them. So we might just rotate them and mount them to the front, I reckon. The burner controls. One there. Another one about there, I think. That's good. All right, what are we missing? Our barbecue tools and bits and pieces. So maybe I'll put a couple of these flasks on here. And maybe an oil container. And some paper towels, maybe. Put a couple. Maybe I'll use the pack of 3, I think. That probably looks better. Again, just have some fun with it. You know, come up with your own ideas. It's fine. It's nothing is really wrong. Serving plate is probably a good idea. Maybe I'll put a gas bottle under here. It's probably not necessary, but we'll do it anyway. Why not? Okay, getting there. What are we missing? Maybe we could put a hand towel thing on the front to break it up a bit. Maybe something pale, like the blue, maybe the blue. Okay, that's good. All right. Okay, nice. Wanted to make some tongs as well, but when I tried to mount them, they were hovering above the bench. So what we're going to do to make them flush, I'm going to use a locker. So I'll just get rid of these. So these are made from the little shovels, but I'll grab a locker. Where's my locker? There we are. And we'll just slide that under that shelf. We'll get our little shovel. And okay, so I need to go a little bit lower down. It's not quite fitting there, so if I go under the shelf I can slide it along. See the little white dot there under the shovel? That's our collision point, so we can just slide that so it's just on the surface of that shelf, and we can rotate this little guy the other way and then bring it in so they cross over. There we are. Get them so they're touching. It's good. About there, I think. Okay, so now we can get rid of this locker. Again, don't delete it, just move it and have a look. And if you need to adjust, you can just go out of the menu and it'll pop back to where it should be. So, like that. So, that's good. All right, let's get rid of this other one. Okay, there's our tongs. Our Barbie. So there we are. Hopefully this has given you a bit of confidence and a few ideas to build without glitches. Please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you wish. And as always, thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you later.